Hi there. Welcome to Craft with Kathie. Thanks for joining me tonight. I am working on project number 3 from the Let's Cuddle kit, and this time I'm going to be using ink. And with that in mind, I want to grab some little baby wipes over here so that if I get ink on my fingers, I could quickly wash them off. So I think I've showed you this the last couple days. This is the Let's Cuddle transfer, and the kit comes with 2 pillowcases and a mini squeegee and 3 individual packets of ink to allow you to ink the pillowcases. The pillowcases I think are 17 by 17, something like that, and they're permanent. They need to be heat set with an iron or a heat press. Either will work fine, and then wash and dry as you would regularly, and they're absolutely beautiful. But I'm saving that for Saturday. So in between, I'm showing you other ways that you can use this kit, the transfer within the kit. And tonight I'm going to be doing a t-shirt. Ideally, I think this would be on a long sleeve shirt, and I thought the shirt was long sleeved, and lo and behold, it's a t-shirt. So that's okay. I'm going to run with it. So basically, when you use ink, you want to use something as a barrier between where you're applying ink, and if it's like a t-shirt where there's a back, you want something as a barrier between where you're applying the ink so that it doesn't seep through to the back. And we have 2 different size ink mats. This one I actually just cut into 2 pieces. It's 17 by 11 inches. And then our other mat is 17 by 17. And because this is rather wide, it's more than 11 inches, I needed the 17. And instead of my craft room is still a nightmare. I know my goal was to get it done by the beginning of the year, but that didn't quite happen. I'm trying to cram too much in too little of a space. So I'm in the midst of purging also, which makes everything crazy. So anyway, so instead of going through trying to figure out where I put it, I just cut this. And you could cut them to size for smaller things, whatever. Or if you do not have an ink mat, think about a hard or stiff piece of cardboard, something to act as a barrier. If I was just doing this, trying to think of a good example, if I was doing this on a canvas banner, I probably wouldn't worry about it because the canvas doesn't have another side. So if it seeps through, the worst thing that's going to happen is I'm going to get the ink on my mat. Okay, but with a t-shirt, obviously we have another side. And in the midst of this, being that I'm putting this on a hot pink t-shirt, I mixed up some ink to get a lighter pink than I had. I mixed up our candy apple red, and which is kind of right on the side here, and our bright white. I don't know if you can see it here, but I've mixed it into this little color tray. And what I'm toying with right now, and I appreciate some input, is should I mix this up totally so it's just plain pink, or should I actually ink it with some swirls in it? What would you do? What do you think? What's that? What do you... I'm open inputs. Should it look marbleized on the shirt, or should I just mix it with a straight pink? Let me get this out of the way, and, well, I have to get my ink out of the way, and I will show you the shirt so you can form an opinion and let me know what you would do. Just a quick finger check to make sure I don't have ink on my fingers, and of course I just see where I do. And I'm hoping the dog's okay today. She's been much better, but she just got up, so fingers crossed that no interruptions tonight. Okay, so this is the shirt. It's a hot pink. So what do you think? Swirled or marble-like? Or should I just mix it up and do straight pink? What would you do? Think about that. Let me know. I am going to insert the ink mat in here. And the ink mat comes with a little cover, a little like a cellophane cover to it, which gets put on the sticky side. So another thing about using the ink mat instead of cardboard, it's really nice. It's nice and sticky, and it will hold the fabric in place once you put it inside the shirt or whatever you're inking on. So that's always nice so that you don't have things shifting or wrinkling on you. And yes, I did press this t-shirt. You know how much I hate ironing, but I ironed it because it was a little wrinkly from the package. If you find this video interesting, useful, or entertaining, please consider subscribing to my channel. And while you're there, click on the little bell so that you will be notified of when future videos are posted. And as always, thank you for your support. It's greatly appreciated. Spread this out a little bit. Get my ink mat in there. It looks pretty centered to me. And then let me show you what transfer I'm going to put in here. I need to move this a little bit over. So I'm just lifting the shirt up and letting it fall back on it. Okay, I think that'll be good. It's a little bit over to the left, but that's fine. Let me grab the transfer that I'm using, and you can see what I have in mind. So this is what I'm putting on the shirt, and I am not going to fuzz it because I'm putting it on fabric, so there's no reason to diminish the adhesiveness. It's going on cloth. We want it to stick as nice and snugly as it can. And then I'm thinking maybe put some hearts on here. I don't know. Kind of see where we're going with that. I want to make sure that's nice and straight. Okay, any consensus on, and I'm on the mat everywhere. I'm going to lift it up just to make sure it looks good to me. Okay, I'm eyeballing that. Any consensus on the ink? Should I mix it up or should I go swirly? You know what? I'm going to do it different. I'm going to go swirly. How's that? Let's try it. Why not, right? I like putting it on the silk, on the vinyl instead of on the silk screen. And I might be putting it too much on here, but I just didn't want to be grabbing it from the tray and losing that marble effect as I went. I have to be careful not to get ink on my fingers. So every time I touch my fabric, I want to do a finger check and make sure that I don't have ink that I smudge and put on here. Now, if I accidentally do smudge my ink, what I will do is I will camouflage it with a heart or something. Something to hide my little oops, if you will. And I'm using a small squeegee instead of my mini squeegee right now. I don't know if I've really got much marbling here, truly. It doesn't really look like it. It probably is going to look more just like a light pink. Now I don't want to go off my transfer, so I'm trying to be careful that I get it, but that I don't go off of it. Let me go over this one more time. Just a little bit here. Give it a little bit of a moment for the fabric to actually absorb the ink. That's a little close to my top. I have to be careful there. I think when I use this on the pillowcase Saturday, I will probably use our placement tape so that I don't take any chance of going off the edge. I cut it a little close here. And same with this D. A little close. Okay. I think I've got everything covered. Finger check. Let's lift this up gently. If I've missed any area, this is the time to catch it and go back over it. This is looking pretty good. I think this little bar across the T, though, could use a little bit more ink on it there. It looked a little light to me. And the same with the E over here. This is a little tricky. I'm right up there against the edge. Hey, what do you think? Now, I'm putting this in a little tray of water that I have sitting on the edge. Well, actually, I have it sitting on a little stool underneath my table. I do not want the transfer to sit in water for a long period of time. I am actually now, I've got ink on my fingers, otherwise I'd show you. Let me clean this up, get the shirt out of the way, or maybe I should, what do you think? Should I throw a heart on it? I think it needs a couple hearts. Let me do that real quick, and then I'll show you how I'm going to clean my transfer. I'm thinking 3. Sometimes it's a good thing to go in groups of 3s. Oops. Maybe to cut the little edge of that a little bit. So let's see. If you've ever wondered what it's like to be a designer for Chalk Couture, comment team below and I'll send you a link that tells you all about it. No obligation whatsoever. And right now is a great time to join. We have 2 new perks packs, one with ink, one with chalk, plus some other great bonuses. Just comment team and I'll send you the link. I'd love to have you on my team. I don't want to smear the ink that I have on right now. It's wet. I could dry it with my drying tool. I want to make sure this is under the mat. Okay, it all is. And I don't like the way this one looks. Tip it a little bit more. And I'm going to grab a smaller squeegee and my ink here to do this. See how quick and easy it is to customize clothing? Now, wouldn't this be sweet paired with a couple hearts going down the side of a leg of jeans? Wouldn't that make a cute Valentine's? Casual, obviously, but wouldn't that make a cute little Valentine's statement? Finger check. Let me get the ink off my fingers. Last thing I need is ink on my thumb or something when I go to lift up a transfer. Okay. Throw that in the water real quick. There we go. Okay, let me move this shirt out of the way, set it aside to dry. I could dry it with my drying tool, but I usually just let whatever I'm inking sit overnight, and then I press it in the morning. It doesn't take long to do, and it actually is less effort than me sitting there with the dryer and drying it. Unless I needed to wear something immediately, I just let it dry on its own. Okay, here's my little bucket. I had a little bit of water in here, about 1 inch or so of it. And I just threw my transfers in. Now, generally, I would do this at a sink. I'm taking one of our board erasers and just wiping off the ink off the top of the transfer. It's pretty quick and easy. You could just set it on the bottom of your sink. Just make sure that the surface of your sink is wet first before you apply it, because you wouldn't want it sticking to stainless or to porcelain. And let's see, here's my... Oops, I'm missing a heart, aren't I? It's in here somewhere. I'm missing the little bitty one. I think I saw it. Okay. And while everything's wet, you're not going to get the back sticking to it while the adhesive's wet. You don't have to really worry about them sticking to each other, but you want to keep them in the water for as little amount of time as possible. You don't want them soaking in the water because the water will cause it to not, it'll lessen the adhesive. And the idea is you want to keep your adhesive, the adhesive portion of your transfers intact so that you could use them over and over and over again. But this goes pretty easy. Ink comes off a little bit easier, or it's a little bit softer than our chalk paste, because our chalk paste actually has chalk, which is kind of a dry component. Okay, I'm going to pull this out. I know I'm dripping all over here. Get my little water bath out of the way and finish cleaning these. Generally, after I've washed them at the sink, I like to use a disinfecting wipe and wipe them down with that. I also want to get the fuzz off the back. I didn't fuzz these because I went on fabric, but because it's fabric, it picked up some lint. So I want to make sure that I remove that lint from the adhesive back. So I'm just going over the front, make sure I don't have any ink left on it. I'm going to flip it over and clean the adhesive side. And then once I make sure I don't have any ink in the silk screen, just like if I'm using chalk, I'm going to go over it in one direction and get any fuzz off of the back. Then I'm going to set this aside on a flat surface to dry. Once it's dry, I'll put it back on its little backer sheet. Make sure that when you lay it down sticky side up, otherwise it'll dry and end up sticking to your surface. Now our mat's pretty good. It doesn't stick too strongly to a mat, but sometimes I use a glass mat, and the last thing I'd want it to do is dry on a glass mat, because it would stick very, very strongly, because the less porous, or the more smooth and the less porous a surface is, the stronger a transfer will stick to it. Hence why we fuzz extra when we're using a transfer on glass or metal or mirror or ceramic, and less when we're doing it on wood. Wood's porous, where glass is not. And glass is very smooth. And even our porcelain magnetic frames, if you're using one of our porcelain magnetic frames, I fuzz a little bit more than if you're using one of our other boutique surfaces. Okay, so I'll let these sit and dry, and then I'll put them back on the sheet. And there is project number 3 from Let's Cuddle. How simple and easy was that? Thank you for joining me tonight. I surely appreciate it. Oh my goodness, it's only 20 minutes in. I could do a couple shirts if I had gotten some out here. Thank you for watching. I will see you soon.